So, what if I told you we can reduce VAT to less than 12%, but still have a budget surplus? All the ANC has to do is let go of BEE, but they won't, will they?
Broad-based black economic empowerment. The whole idea behind it is obviously to bring the black majority into the economy by excluding whites. So what we are seeing is that even if you did exclude every single white, you outlawed them, you gave them a work pass, you still wouldn't fix unemployment in the country. So, Ramon, how do you fix unemployment in the country?
In this particular video, we're going to just think about how much tax do we pay for BEE? People keep talking about the black tax for black families, but the country pays a black tax, which is billions and hundreds of billions of rands every year. Procurement from the government is 1.2 trillion rand a year. 66% of that has to go to BEE people or BEE companies. Because they're forced to use BEE companies, there's middlemen, there's inflated pricing, there's all sorts of other things on top of it. There is an assumption that that premium is 100 to 300 billion rand a year of spending. Our budget deficit is close to that. So if we stop BEE in terms of public procurement, we can actually drop VAT by 3 percentage points and still have a growing economy. This will actually help the ANC in time to come. It will help with employment. It will help with all sorts of things. But the ANC is going to keep that BEE premium there because it helps them and them alone.
Yes, but you see, the interesting part about that, Ramon, is that what you're effectively saying is that we could reduce unemployment in the land by making the land more competitive in terms of economically. If we reduce VAT, it reduces the price. If we reduce any form of, just call them unscrupulous middlemen and onerous regulations that might spearhead more competition, more foreign investment, which would reduce the unemployment rate. It's kind of logical. Here's the illogical part, Ramon. The ANC themselves have said they are not committed to an economy of cheapest price. They are committed to an economy that progresses and transforms the lives of the black majority. And that basically is code for, we don't mind paying an inflated price as long as we, give some of that money to a cadre, and the cadre gets richer as a result. Now, you may ask yourself, when was this actually referenced? Well, it was referenced in April 2023 when Ramaphosa signed in the new BEE and transformation rules. The ANC are very clear, which is ironic because one of the purposes of the NHI is to have the cheapest price by having economies of scale. But the ANC are very clear. They're not after the cheapest price, mate. They're after the ideological idea of transformation.
Yeah, but transformation is only about them. Transformation is only about who the friends of the ANC are. Paul from Tembisa, who has a matric at 35%, is not going to become the CEO of Eskom. He's not going to supply electronic circuits to Transnet. He's not going to be under any preferential procurement system whatsoever because A, he doesn't have the skills, B, he doesn't have the network, and C, who gives a shit about Paul in fucking Tembisa? We got this guy who we've done business with before, who's got tenders, who's this one's son or whatever the case might be. BEE is killing the black working and middle class of this country. Okay, arguably not the middle class, but to reduce unemployment, you have to destroy the unions and destroy the BEE premium to get more competition into this country. But the ANC are quite happy to keep all of those things, increase the budget deficit, have terrible outcomes on services because now they're paying for the debt and not paying for services themselves. Whereas a simple pragmatic way to solve the fiscal problem is to just reduce BEE in public procurement, which is something offered by the IRR in this particular instance. The article is linked below. It's a very simple, elegant solution to make South Africa a better place for the majority black people. But the ANC are not going to do that now, are they?
So this actually put some sums down on paper. So the government spends 1.2 trillion a year on procurement, and they're estimating that the premium, the tax, premium tax, the cadres enrichments accounts for 20% of that. Hey, 20% of 1.2 trillion is a shitload of money. Now imagine all that money getting plowed into, I don't know, Eskom, because that's how much gets plowed into Eskom. Well, we wouldn't have a budget deficit anymore, would we? Every time the unions actually ask for a pay rise, there might actually be some money to pay the pay rise. We wouldn't have to borrow as much. which means we wouldn't actually be subject to forex exchange rates and shocks whenever the dollar or the pound go up or down. The country would actually be a lot better off if it just had more money. According to this article, we actually have that money, which is actually the thing that came to me as the biggest surprise.
We have the money, but we're paying it to cadres to deliver rocks to Eskom instead of coal. Like, this is a perverse incentive of BEE, right? You're subsidizing all the losses of your cadres while they personally take all the upside. Byron, if I had a contract or you had a contract where they pay you R1 billion a year to give X to Eskom, and there's no downsides whatsoever if you don't give X to Eskom, are you going to complain? Not a shit. You're going to take the R1 billion and fucking do whatever you want. Imagine that on a scale that is 20% of 1.2 trillion rand. That is what we're dealing with in South Africa. It's 300-400 billion rand a year being paid to cadres that could be saved, that could be given to social services, that could have more police officers, that could go back to erase Eskom's debt, that could solve load shedding by increasing maintenance at the coal fleet. Imagine we had an extra 300-400 billion rand a year, and we could still cut VAT with that. But they're not going to do it.
Because unfortunately the ANC loves this ideology. And this ideology in this instance is actually a disguise. It's a disguise for self-enrichment. And we all know that. But you see, what the ANC can't do is they can't go to its cadres and say, we're dropping this. Because it's actually costing the economy money, whilst you guys get fat, and live off the BE tax. That's going to lose them internal support. The grand irony is it will probably gain them external support as the economy starts to improve.
Yeah, dramatically. The ANC would rather have 1,000 Edwin Sodis who poison people through a lack of work, who still get all the money from not doing the work. They'd rather get 1,000 of those than not having a fiscal deficit. That they're not solving crime, than all sorts of other things. They'd rather have 1,000 parasitic tenderpreneurs than actually running this country properly. And the money is right there. They could do it in an instant, just like that.